Lake of the Woods. Driving off, it was like the last weekend, it was getting hot. Driving off, we were plowing water with bumpers.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Ready? The last day.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the first meeting, City Council meeting of 2023. And with that, I'm going to call to order the January 29th, 23 City Council meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion made, second is a discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. No presentation?
No.
We'll go right to the consent agenda then.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do we need to add this attachment 1 to item 5, Jack?
Which one, Brian?
Addendum to cleaning services agreement.
That will be brought up. I think we just need to pull that and say that the addendum in front of you replaces the addendum that's in the packet.
Okay.
So we're gonna pull item N then?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that on the
Okay.
list, yeah.
I'd like to pull items F, G, and I.
F, G, and I?
F, G, and I.
We need a second.
Come on, guys, don't be bashful over there.
We need a second.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded. For the remaining ones, A, D, E, H, and L. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those pass. I wanted to pull, I'm sorry, I should go back. I want to amend that. I want to pull B, C, F, G, J, K, M, and N. So with that, it still say the same ones that'll be open, so we're fine there. Jack, you want to do B and C?
Yes, on the meeting minutes, I've already spoken with Jim and Tim. Since they were not council members, they will have to abstain from the vote on the approval of the minutes.
So I'll make a motion to approve B and C.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? B and C pass. Kevin, item F.
I just had a simple question, and that is, have there been any changes in the bank depositories?
No.
Okay, I move that we approve F.
A second.
Motion made, second, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. I pulled item G, the check signatory approvals. We always had the acting mayor. I see they got is the mayor and city administrator, so we're gonna put the acting mayor in there. And with that, I'm gonna make a motion to approve item G with the correction.
Second?
Motion made, second, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Kevin, item I.
Okay, item I, that's Planning Commission reappointments. We were talking recently, the three of us who've been recently elected to the city council, and they weren't members of the city council, so it was okay for us to talk without an open meeting law thing. And we talked about what the importance of the commissions are and committees, commissions in particular, and the Economic Development Authority, because they're advisory groups to the city council. And we take seriously that we need to have input. We don't need rubber stampers. We don't need, people who just go along to get along. We need people who invest themselves, and so it's basically subject matter knowledge. You should know something about it. If you want to be on the EDA, you should have some knowledge of business, ideally in this area, but in business in general. A willingness to apply yourself in preparation for meetings. I realize $20 a meeting is not a major motivation, but Yeah, that's the deal, is to be ready for the meetings and to go through the information. And of course, interacting with the community generally as a citizen. And another thing, and it's beyond common sense, but just having good judgment. You know, not only about matters as they relate to the city, but in one's personal life too. You know, just basically a solid citizen type deal. And with that in mind, I'm gonna move that we not approve the Planning Commission's recommendation. And I gotta say, I know the staff doesn't have any choice in the matter. You have to report what the Planning Commission recommends, but I'm surprised at the Planning Commission that they would recommend this person, because she, at the meeting of the candidates meet the candidates deal, and then later, the same evening that I was sworn in, laid into one of my colleagues here on the city council, and what struck me was what strange judgment that was, because he was already elected, so you knew you'd have to be facing a council with him and me on it for the approval. And I thought, what a strange thing to do. But anyway, it's past history now, and my recommendation is that we not approve the reappointment of Karen Kreppes to the Planning Commission.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion.
Traditionally, all of our advisory committees, they interview their members, they select the members that they want to serve with. Council has always abided by that. This last year, I have served as council liaison to planning. Karen has done an excellent job in her service to the city. A person having their own opinions about city politics, about who they may like or dislike, should not be punished for that.
Well, shouldn't be rewarded for it either. And the fact is, you have to work with the city council as it's now constituted, not as it was prior to November.
But it doesn't matter how the city council is.
Well, you're giving your
She's
opinion, and I
she's still
appreciate
wanting
that.
to serve.
I respect your opinion, but I think it's not a good idea, given the animus that exists. I don't think that's a good idea, I really don't. And it's been clearly stated enough, you know, I mean, you know, I'm not making it up.
No, but that's still her opinion, so anybody who serves
Right,
on
I agree.
any of our advisory boards can't have an opinion. If they have an opinion about council, then
Brian,
they are
we're
removed.
talking about making accusations that so far I haven't seen any substantiation for, but accusations of a lack of
I never saw
integrity.
any accusations, and she's had great integrity. She's brought forth issues that
Well, I don't know
nobody
why,
else would
I don't
speak
know
about.
why you missed it, but there were aspersions cast at Mr. Smith, and by extension myself, I might say, but I'll set that aside for me, but for him, on both occasions, to meet the candidates and on November 14th. And I don't see how you can serve a city and have that kind of animus toward the people who are on the city council. It just seems inconsistent to me.
Oh, you don't have to like the city council to want to serve the city.
Yeah. Anyway, I've made a motion, it's been seconded.
I guess my opinion is, we can't get a lot of people to sign up for these commissions. What's your plans? What do you wanna do? I wanna hear, you know, what's your reasoning, why?
Just open it up for somebody else to apply. I have somebody in mind right now, and that would be Suzanne Urkel, who's sitting at the back of the room, who has city council experience and who has applied to be on the planning commission. In fact, I'll nominate her right now, if that's okay. I'll
No,
nominate her.
they're gonna have to go through the planning commission to, isn't that for interview and open it up?
There's nothing in the ordinance that addresses this issue in this manner. To follow the procedures that's set up, it would have to be opened up for applications again to the general public, and the planning commission would review and then make a recommendation
And
to
we
city
can't,
council.
we can't intercede as a city council that we're the people who have to approve them, and we can't say, well, we're going to circumvent that slightly in this case. We're hide-bound, huh?
You can confirm or not confirm the recommendation, but to my knowledge, and maybe the city
Well, what if
attorney.
they don't recommend her, but we want her, a majority of us want her? We can circumvent that, they serve us, but we don't serve them. The commissions don't overrule the city council.
I don't think the commissions are. I think the process for selecting it, though, is you open it up then for,
Well, why don't we let it go through the process, and then if they don't nominate Suzanne, even though we've expressed our interest in having her be on the planning commission,
Yeah.
then we'll do what we want.
well, and, you know, that way the city attorney could review this a little closer and give us some more advice. But I think one of the criteria that the planning commission is looking for is to make sure they have somebody that they think they can work with. So I think it would be best just to reopen the application up, let the planning commission review them and make a recommendation to city council.
Okay, if that's your feelings about it, but my motion stands. And trust me, I didn't expect any different reaction than what you're giving me. So, it's no surprise.
Any more discussion? To the motion not to approve Karen Kreppus, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That motion passes. Item J, firefighter resignation, I pulled that one. I want to thank Doug Dolbert for 23 years of service. Doug has been an outstanding firefighter. He's been a mentor to one of our new firefighters, and he's going to be greatly missed. And I just want to say congratulations on 23 years. And with that, I'll approve item J as written.
A second.
Motion made, second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Item K, Jack.
Item K is a contract delegation process that MnDOT has requested that we approve. It's in your packet. We didn't get some legal opinions on it until after the packet went out. Our city attorney commented that his only issue with the agreement was that there was no termination process in this for the city, only for MnDOT. I had a couple of discussions with MnDOT. They said that this is sent out to 230 cities that receive state aid and the counties that receive state aid, and that there's only been a rare instance where it hasn't been approved. If this non-termination ability for the city is an issue, we can table this and seek other means. We could even do it if it's project specific, if something comes up. The only reason for approval at this time is sometimes in obtaining these funds, MnDOT is the pass-through for the federal agencies, and sometimes there's some time-sensitive issues that this could affect some of the funding of a project. But if you have any reservations at all about the fact that there's no termination ability for the city, we can table it and see if there's any other options on this.
So is it your opinion, table?
My opinion would be to table and do a little bit more research on this to find out what we could do to get this approved so it would not restrict us in our ability to terminate, as MnDOT does have that ability with this agreement.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table item K until the city administrator brings it back forward.
I'll second.
Motion made, second discussion. To the motion table, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's tabled. Item M, I just want to congratulate the 3 new lieutenants coming on. Joe King will be lieutenant at Station 1 and 3. Nathan Fish will be lieutenant at Station 2, and Chad Fish will be the day lieutenant. I just want to thank these individuals for stepping forward. And with that, I'm going to approve item M as written.
I'll second that, and I'll second the mayor's statements that we need people to step up into certain advisory roles or roles of responsibility, and sometimes it can be very difficult to find those people, so I'd second the mayor's comments and say thank you to him.
Motion made, second, in discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes. Then item N, the cleaning service contract renewal. Jack?
In front of you, there's an addendum to that cleaning service addendum, which added Fire Station 3 on there, which was omitted. So staff is recommending approval of the service contract renewal for Bill's Quality Cleaning, consistent with the addendum that's in front of you at your seat.
Make a motion to approve item N with the addendum included.
I'll second.
Motion made to second. Discussion. No discussion? To the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 6.0, new business, Hidden Pines preliminary plat. Aaron?
Are you gonna give the staff report? Do you have it? Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a preliminary plat for Hidden Pines of TH Construction of Anoka, Inc. This plat consists of 10 buildable, single-family rural lots. Of the proposed lots, one lot is a minimum of 2 acres. The average lot size in the proposed plat is 2.30 acres, therefore all lots meet city code requirements. The Building and Public Works Departments have reviewed the submitted preliminary plat and are in support of the subdivision as proposed, with no comments on the plat. The city engineer's comments from December 8th of 2022 are shown in Exhibit B. All items will need to be satisfactorily addressed prior to the final plat approval. The Parks Commission reviewed the plat on October 11th of 2022 and made the recommendation of park fees in lieu of land. The park dedication fee is determined by 10% of the fair market value of undeveloped land, not to exceed $2,000 per acre. City staff is currently working with the property owner to determine the amount required for park dedication fees, which will all need to be paid prior to the release of the final plat for filing with Anoka County. Street access will be off of East Bethel Boulevard or Anoka County Highway 15. The Anoka County Highway Department has reviewed the proposed plat and is requiring the dedication of a 60-foot right-of-way as shown in the plat, as well as an addition of a right turn lane, which is not illustrated in the preliminary plat. The Anoka County Highway Department comment letter dated December 26th of 2022 can be seen as Exhibit C. The East Bethel Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 27th. A resident inquired about the specific location of the junction of 198th Avenue at East Bethel Boulevard. Another resident inquired about future road access to Klondike. The Planning Commission had a few questions regarding the Anoka County Highway Department's comments. The developer, Tony Hennon, answered questions regarding future road accessibility and addressed the comments made by the Highway Department. A planning commissioner initiated a discussion about a traffic light, or a street light to be placed near the entrance of East Bethel Boulevard and 198th. After some conversation, a few planning commissioners did not think that it was a necessity, as it is not required by city code. Planning Commission voted unanimously 6-0 in favor of recommending the approval of the preliminary plat to you, the City Council.
Make a motion for approval of Resolution 2023-01, approval of the preliminary plat for Hidden Pines.
A second.
Motion made, and second, discussion.
Jack, I do have a question. There is an outlot A that is a small strip. As normal circumstances, outlot would be, call it future development, but this is just a small strip of land. My question would be, who will own this or maintain this strip of land once the development is built out?
I can answer that for you. The city engineer has made a comment about that outlot and
Yep.
that it needs to be further defined before final plat. So we're waiting for the engineer from the developer to explain and come to an agreement on what's gonna happen with outlot A
As far as ownership and maintenance?
and what its intended purpose will be.
Okay.
Any other questions? On the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. 7.0, department reports, commission liaison and committee appointments.
Did you
Thank
have
you,
anything
Tim.
for 6B, Economic Development Authority? At the very
No.
bottom.
I got nothing on that one.
Thank you, Tim. Assignments of city council persons to commissions, committees, authorities, WMOs, and other public advisory boards as liaisons or members are recommended by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. The following are the commission, authority, committee, and appointed positions recommended by Mayor Harrington for consideration. Acting mayor. The acting mayor performs the duties of the mayor in his absence. Councilperson Mundell is recommended for appointment to this position for 2023. Commission assignments. The Planning and Parks Commission have a council member assigned as a liaison non-voting member. The purpose is to provide a direct link in communication between the council and commissions and historical perspective to issues and items affecting those commissions. Councilperson Smith is recommended for appointment as the council liaison to the Parks Commission for 2023. The Parks Commission meets on the second Tuesday of the month or as needed. Councilperson Lewis is recommended for appointment as the council liaison to the Planning Commission for 2023. The Planning Commission meets on the fourth Tuesday of the month or as needed. Fire
May I
Department.
ask one question right there?
Yes,
I looked at the homepage, the city homepage. Is that little meeting calendar only 2 weeks out?
yes.
Because the question I had is the January 24th planning meeting for real or is it not?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
Fire Department. Councilperson Miller is recommended for appointment as a general council liaison to the Fire Department for 2023. The Fire Department has training sessions and staff meetings every Monday unless otherwise noticed. Police Department. A council member is assigned as liaison to the Anoka County Sheriff's Department. Councilperson Smith is recommended for this liaison position. Meetings are scheduled as needed. Economic Development Authority. Per EDA bylaws, 2 council members are appointed to this commission. The EDA meets on the third Monday of the month or as needed. Mayor Harrington and Councilperson Mundell are recommended for appointment as the council members for the EDA for 2023. Sunrise River and Upper Rum River Water Management Organizations. The city is statutorily required to participate in the watershed management organizations to review, develop, and approve water management plans and budgets for the basin area. The city belongs to both the Upper Rum River WMO and the Sunrise River WMO. The city appoints a council person and a citizen member to each WMO. The WMOs meet bi-monthly or as needed with notices provided in advance of the meeting with agenda materials. Mayor Harrington is recommended for the 2023 appointment as the council representative to the Sunrise River WMO, and Councilperson Miller is recommended as the council representative on the Upper Rum River WMO. Leon Major is recommended for appointment as a citizen member to the Sunrise River WMO, and Roger Loesch is recommended for appointment as a citizen member to the Upper Rum River WMO. Sand Hill Crane Committee. This committee was formed by a joint powers agreement and composed of the city of East Bethel, Anoka County, the Minnesota DNR, and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. This group plans for public uses within the area. One city council member is appointed to this committee. This committee meets as necessary. Councilperson Harrington is recommended for appointment as the council liaison for the Sand Hill Crane Committee for 2023. Finance Committee. This committee meets as necessary to provide recommendations for budget development or other city financial matters. 2 city council members are appointed to this committee. Mayor Harrington and Councilperson Lewis are recommended for the 2023 appointees to this committee. Booster Day Committee. In previous years, 2 council members have been assigned as liaisons to the Booster Day Committee. The full committee consists of members of service organizations and citizen volunteers. The committee meets monthly with the exception of August. The committee feels that only one council person is needed for liaison, but welcomes the attendance of any other council member. Mayor Harrington is recommended for the 2023 appointment to the Booster Day Committee. Anoka County Blaine Airport Advisory Commission. The city is a member of the Anoka County Blaine Airport Advisory Commission. Membership on the commission enables the city to keep abreast of developments at the airport as they relate to economic development through access to general aviation facilities. The commission is advisory only, and there are no dues or costs to the city to belong. Current municipal members on the commission include Circle Pines, Blaine, Mounds View, Lexington, Lino Lakes, East Bethel, and Anoka County. This commission meets on a biannual basis. Suzanne Urkel served as liaison to this body from 2019 to 2022. If any council member has an interest on serving on this commission, you may request appointment during the discussion of this matter tonight. In addition to the liaison selection, City Council may appoint an alternate, either an elected official or a citizen, to this group. North Trunk Highway 65 Coalition. The City of East Bethel joined a coalition of cities, counties, and townships along Trunk Highway 65 from Blaine to and including Kanabec County in September 2006 to support and lobby for transportation improvements within this corridor. The coalition meets bi-monthly at the Isani County Government Center in Cambridge. Per the bylaws of the coalition, a non-elected official can be appointed to the coalition board. It is recommended that Councilperson Mundell and the city administrator be appointed to the North Trunk Highway 65 Coalition for 2023. Personnel Committee. The city created a Personnel Committee on March 22nd, 2021 to review matters related to policies and practice, compensation and benefits, labor relations and collective bargaining, employee relations, staffing and organizational construction, and advise the council on these issues. Mayor Harrington and Councilperson Lewis are recommended for the 2023 appointments to this committee. Mayor Harrington has recommended the appointments as listed in Attachment 1 and described above, and request approval from council for these assignments.
I suppose we should ask anybody interested in the Anoka County Blaine Airport Advisory Commission.
Can I say something about that? Can I?
Sure.
I am currently the chair on there, and I did tell Jack prior to me being off of the city council that I would be happy to continue doing that and bringing back the reports to the city council. We meet, we meet officially twice a year, but then we have pre-meetings twice a year too. So, but your volunteer is here if you want. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, she can be on there as a alternate or.
Yeah, that would be the alternate
Alternate,
position,
but
the
yeah.
citizen, but we do need a city council person on there.
Anybody interested? I don't know, what do they meet, once a quarter?
Twice a year.
Yeah.
May
Twice a
and
year?
November.
I'll take it.
Okay.
That was, just so I understand what I'm agreeing to. That was the airport commission, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. No, that was to clean the latrines. Whoops.
We need a motion to approve these.
Make a motion for approval, the commission committee liaison recommendations made by Mayor Harrington for 2023.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion.
On some of these here, I mean, so then you picked out who's gonna be where? I think the council should be picking that out, shouldn't they?
No, it's always been the mayor.
The ordinance
You
says,
guys
that
can all.
the ordinance, the city ordinance says the mayor shall appoint and the council shall confirm,
Yeah.
so.
Right, so we
Yeah.
can question or we can switch whatever we
Yeah,
want.
it's up,
we
it's,
want.
it's up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
discussion.
You
Because
wanna-
originally, Tim in particular was interested in Park, for example. And I know that Jim has been on the East Bethel Fire Department in the
Bethel
past.
Fire Department. On Bethel,
So, maybe they wanna switch.
yeah.
Being so easygoing, I'm happy with everything you said.
You'll have to make the corrections, and I mean, it's up to you two.
Yeah, we can switch.
Yeah, I'd like to be part.
Okay,
So
I'll be the fire
Miller will be,
department.
Parks,
Yeah, and I'll be the fire
and Jim will
department.
be the fire department.
And Jim and I already talked again before he was sworn in,
Yeah, I got
So-
one for him too. I got it.
okay?
They have, the fire department meets in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then, I don't know how many night ones you make, they
I
meet at
talked to
7.
Rod Sanow, the fire chief, just
Yeah.
this past week, and, he said that the meeting the 23rd at the Thielen exit over on Coon Lake,
Well, they're gonna have an ice rescue, yep.
yeah, would be a good
Yeah.
chance to meet everybody, so.
Well, to the motion with the corrections made, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have our liaisons for 2023. Item number 2, reserve capacity loan report.
We went over this at the last meeting, but I wanted to make sure that Jim and Tim had the opportunity to just get an update on the reserve capacity loan. This is something that the city originally negotiated with the Met Council back in 2010. What it is a loan agreement that specifies how the wastewater reclamation plant, the force mains, thank you, Kevin, and the rapid infiltration basins will be paid for. So these were designed to be paid for by using the SAC charges assigned each year through 2032, and the loan payment, which is double what our flow charges are, or the same as our flow charges, to use to repay this loan. Well, when this started out, as you can see from this chart, the growth projections on here are not attainable or sustainable. So the city started conducting a series of meetings with Met Council, and we finally got them to agree to cap this loan at no more than $2 million. As you can see in this column, the year-end balances, if there were no more development in the corridor on this system, the final amount due would have been $18.4 million. Even if you had 1,000 more connections, this would be still probably about $13 million. So once this loan amount exceeds $2 million, that cap is met, this whole thing goes away, and then we go into a 10-year fixed-term loan that would be paid back at $231,000 a year. The interest rate on that would be 2.73%. The 231 includes the interest. So we currently have about $1,080,000 in our sewer account, so most of that plus the SAC charges that we anticipate getting coming in should be enough to make our loan payments without having to affect the general levy. Now, this chart can be a little confusing, and I'll try to explain any questions you might have, but essentially this gets us satisfied with the Met Council by using the SAC charges generated from the development to pay off this loan. One other thing too, when this hits $2 million, is that currently we pay $700 more for each SAC charge for the Met Council. We have to charge every hookup $31.85, where if we lived in one of the 103 urban areas out of the 107 that's in the Met Council jurisdiction, they only pay $24.85. So that goes away, our SAC charge goes down for that.
And that greater cost was because the East Bethel City Council wanted to get going on this project ahead of what the plan of the
Well-
Met Council originally was?
I don't think that's what the greater cost was, but you're correct on that. This was accelerated to start this about 10 years earlier, and there was a wastewater treatment agreement drawn up to begin this process. So instead of doing it in 2020 or 2030, it was accelerated to begin in 2010. The thing that's gotten the cost up is it was based on a projection of growth that's not gonna happen. So.
Really?
Yeah, so, and envisioning that, it was envisioned that the growth would pay for the project, but, as we all know, of course, we had the Great Recession that occurred about the time this project started, but even with that, I don't think the growth.
Before the
growth-
project started. 2 to 4 years before it started.
Well, yeah, it's, if you want to date it, probably started feeling the effects of it in 2008.
Yeah.
And it lasted till about 2013 here.
By the way, the table you have that says as of 12/16/22, you know why these tables are confusing? I finally realized that, at least why it confused me, I can't speak for anybody else. But once under beginning balance in the middle, it got up to 2 million, it should have stopped right there. Everything to the right and beneath it shouldn't even be there,
Well,
in terms of clarity to the
yeah.
person reading it.
and all you gotta do is look over here, and I won't disagree with that. But this was the original one that's put
Yeah,
up, but as soon
right.
as this column right here reaches $2 million, whether it's 2024 or 2025, then this whole thing goes away.
Yeah. But, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
That's
but I did, so go ahead.
What do you mean it goes away? I mean, so like the 18 million that we do owe?
Goes away.
Goes away.
It can
It
only be
never
2
goes over 2 million.
It can never go over $2 million.
That's
So-
why the tables are confusing to me anyway,
Yeah.
is why even
Right.
have the numbers
That's what
there.
I'm trying to figure too, because if we owe 18 million theoretically, how does that go away if we reach?
Because
What's the 2 million, I guess?
the $2 million was the cap that we negotiated with Met Council because they recognized that we could not meet these growth projections.
That
And
those
it wasn't-
negotiations
Yeah.
was after this table was, made.
Originally made.
That's correct. So there was nothing that was done to update the table. It's just in the agreement that we have with it. It's capped at $2 million. Then when that happens, though, we do owe the Met Council $2 million. But the negotiations with them, they will allow us a 10 or 20-year term on the loan to pay it back at 2.73%.
Just so we're real clear, as of the end of fiscal 2023, so that's after the payments on the debt and principal this year, East Bethel will still own the Metropolitan Council $15,565,000 of principal, another 5.8 approximately $1 million of interest, for a total of over $21,300,000 before this. At the end of this year, this will be up to another 1.6, 1.7 million, which brings us up to about $23 million. I told some folks from various areas, Andover, Ham Lake and all, this weekend, what we were in debt, and they all were like, you gotta be joking. This is what you call a debt trap. In finance, you call them a debt trap. Means you're just serving debt and you're just keeping your nose right above the water unless something miraculously happens. And this is what drives things like the Elevage project, why we wanted those hookups. That's why, you know? And so it's a balancing act for those of us who are here now, because we can't undo what's been done. It's been done. But we definitely have to face the truth of the situation we're in. And it's why I want to propose two things to this city council. One is that we actively look for methods of debt relief, whether it's grants, call George Soros, whatever you want, Bill Gates, Bezos, whatever. But it would be great if we could locate a way to take that down any amount we can. And the second thing is the people of East Bethel should never have this done to them again. And I'm not an attorney, but I looked through the statutes as much as a non-attorney can, and the Minnesota League of Cities and all that. And there is apparently no limit on a city council's ability to indebt its people statutorily. I couldn't find one, maybe there is, and I don't know, but so it's incumbent upon the city council to tie the hands of future city councils, and I propose that we do that as a matter of fact, to protect the people of East Bethel from anything, and I'll just say it, and nobody's gonna like it, anything this stupid. I've seen a lot of financial stuff in my life. I did mergers and acquisitions and all that kind of stuff. This is as dumb a thing as I've ever seen. When you take on that kind of debt, all betting on the come, and even 10 years, 12 years later, it still hasn't come enough to have this make any sense, that is not a good decision. And 4 people did it to us. Bob DeRoche voted against it. The other 4 members of the city council voted for it, and they drove the process, and some of them while they were on their way out of office. And that's the truth of where we're at. But we gotta deal with the truth. No point in sugarcoating it or anything. But I would really like us to figure out a way so that if in East Bethel, if the city council of East Bethel wants to encumber its people with additional debt beyond a certain threshold, whether it's 100% of the current year's budget, or it's $5 million, if it's a fixed number, or it's a proportional thing. However, and I'm sure this must have been dealt with before somewhere in Minnesota, they have to go to a public referendum. I lived here. I've been here 27 years. I was here when they had the public meetings, and I didn't see a single soul in favor of it, except for the people giving the presentations from the city council. Nobody else wanted it, because we could see, oh, we're gonna be paying taxes to support this development over on 65 that doesn't do us any good. Everybody could figure it out. It wasn't hard. But they went ahead with it anyway. And we're gonna be paying the consequences of this to at least 2040, and going by this, 2042. 20 years. I mean, that's a lot for one little group of people to do to another 11,000 people. That's a lot, and I'll shut up with that.
So as to your recommendations, I think we had a little bit of discussion about to look for grants for debt relief. We can certainly do that. I'm not very optimistic that there's anything out there, but we certainly will.
Would that be under the finance committee, or?
Well, we can discuss that at the finance committee, but we'll do some research before then.
Well, you must know some billionaires, don't you, Jay?
No, unfortunately,
You
I don't. They
I'm
don't
fresh out
they don't
myself,
let me
so.
run in that company. The other thing that we can do, and we're always looking for, is to refinance the bonds. We've done that once before, and we saved over $1 million on them.
Yeah.
And as soon as the interest rates start coming down.
Now's not the time.
Now's
I'll
not the
give you a
time.
tip.
As soon as the interest rate starts coming down, there may be another opportunity for that.
It might be.
And once it is, then we'll certainly bring that up and go through the refinance process again.
Did you, what are your thoughts about doing something ordinance-wise, or however it would be constructed, where the current city council limits the ability of future councils in this town to indebt its people?
I don't think you really have probably any good effective way to do that. Even if you pass an ordinance, for example, a future city council can always unenact an ordinance. I mean, ordinances aren't permanent in nature for all of time.
But could you make it, at least it has to be unanimous vote to authorize it?
I'd have to research that to see if there's any authority on the part of a city council to, make a supermajority voting requirement on a future council. Generally, I think the city council is probably does not have the ability to create extraordinary limits on what a future city council can do.
Am I correct in believing that at present, under the Minnesota statutes, there is no limit to the amount of indebtedness a city council can put on the people of a town?
You know, I'm not a finance attorney, and I've never researched that myself, so I don't know that off the top of my head. It's an interesting question, though.
And a lot of that's gonna be governed by whom you're borrowing the money for, that you would have the capacity to pay it back. Once you have exceed certain limits, like what your tax capacity numbers are, the chance of you being able to incur that debt would be very limited.
And that's probably true. You know, your borrower has to approve the debt,
Correct.
and if they don't
So
think you can
that's the
repay
good,
it.
the
That's-
good news is we're not a good enough credit risk to borrow anymore.
Well, actually, our bond rating is really, really good.
Wow, what a,
And,
I
That's
missed
scary.
this,
Yeah.
I missed the silver lining on the cloud.
you know, from a financial standpoint, the city is still in very good shape. Our bond rating is very good. But, you know, to incur any future debts, I think we're going to want to look at things to make sure that they can actually repay themselves.
Is that it? And we'll move on
What,
to,
you want more?
I was here at the meetings too in 2010 when they had the meetings there. I mean, I was out in the parking lot, I couldn't even get in the building.
I was in the hallway.
Yeah. Does anybody have any
Fun
questions
times.
on this further? So the long story short is either in 2024 or in 2025, we're going to face, or we're gonna hit that
You
cap.
have to pay that reserve.
And
off.
so then, but instead of potentially 13 to 18 million dollars, it's only gonna be 2 million. And we should have funds that we've already generated with our SAC charges and SAC charges coming in, that hopefully we'll have enough to make those loan payments for 10 years.
And we're hoping that the interest rates fall in the interim.
That's correct. That's correct.
Item number 3, the Sunset Road Maintenance Agreement.
Linwood Township has submitted a proposed agreement for the maintenance of Sunset Road. This street is a boundary road with the city of East Bethel and Linwood between County Road 26 and County Road 76. The agreement would formalize the current practices of both parties regarding future maintenance work and larger road projects. Currently, there is an unwritten understanding that each municipality handles vegetation and right-of-way maintenance on their respective sides of the road. Snow plowing is handled by the municipality that arrives to the road first. Any road maintenance repairs or improvements that affect the road surface have been split evenly between the city and township after prior approval of the work. Past projects between East Bethel and Linwood have been cooperative ventures that included a micro overlay of approximately 1/8 of a mile and chip seal the street. The road is currently listed as a potential reconstruction project for 2025, and having this agreement in place would formalize the responsibilities of each party. Staff recommends that City Council consider the approval of the Linwood Street Maintenance Agreement.
I'll move to approve the Linwood Street Maintenance Agreement.
I second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Jack, we're gonna be first on everything over there. I
We
mean,
always are.
For everything, the maintenance, the plowing and everything, so I mean,
Well, if it's maintenance work, if it involves any cost to the road surface,
we'll
we split
defer
that.
the cost to them?
Yeah,
Okay.
we split that, but, you know, we've always been first over there for
Yes.
probably the last 30
Times I've been
years.
with the plow drivers, we're always the first on both sides.
Yeah, we gotta go up and go down,
Yep.
so it doesn't really make that much difference,
Yep.
but,
I just wanna make
Yeah,
sure that we're
yeah.
compensated for, you know, when there's any maintenance, like
yeah,
potholes and.
anything like that, we would work out and share the cost with Linwood.
Okay.
We've done it twice with them, and they've been pretty good to work with as long as they get some advance notice.
When is that road due for a,
It's actually due in 2024, but it's gonna be bumped back to 2025 because Linwood is not ready to participate next year or
Okay.
2024 for that
Okay.
project, so we're looking possibly at 2025 as the earliest date for the reconstruction.
okay. Now, the motion made and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Staff reports, Jack?
The only thing I have is each April, we have our local Board of Appeals and Equalization meeting. We set the dates for that tonight. It'll be, I believe, April the 24th. And to have that meeting, we have to have at least one council person who's had the training for the meeting. Currently, we have two council persons, Mr. Mundell and Mr. Harrington, whose certification is good through 2024. But if anybody else wants to take the training and get certified for that, let me know. You can do it online. It takes 1 to 2 hours to do it. And you can have that honor, okay, of being certified as a
I know
LBA.
you're
and it-
shocked. That's one of the ways that we met was
Yeah, it sure was.
through that process.
So if anybody wants to take the training, we can get it set up. The only caveat is it has to be done by February the 1st.
That's it?
That's it.
Mr. Mundell?
Council reports, the only thing I have is January 28th, the fire department is having their annual breakfast and open house. So it's always a wonderful time, wonderful meal. Get tour of the Fire Station 1, and meet some neighbors.
Yeah, no, if the weather permitting, they'll have a helicopter this year, so.
Great.
Yep.
So that's all I have.
Mr. Lewis?
Just for the council members, we've got the senior meeting on the 19th.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
was
know
gonna let
about
Mr.
that?
Miller know that. 10:30, the 19th, they wanna meet all the new council members.
And they'll give us lunch after.
Correct.
That's all I got.
I don't know if Mr. Smith or Mr. Miller wanna say anything?
Yeah, I wanna say something. What do I need to do to bring back public forum video? What do we
You wanna
need to
put
do
that
for
on a work meeting for November, February, I'm sorry.
Can we vote on it tonight or not?
Yeah,
Just make a motion and bring it back?
You wanna do it tonight? We can do
that's
it?
fine.
I'll make a motion that we bring public forum back so the people can be heard and videoed.
Motion made,
Seconded.
second, discussion. The only thing I'm gonna ask is that everything be put on one tape, save some money. Cause if you go to two, it's gonna cost you extra money. So if we gotta start at 7 to 7:15 for the public forum, but, so everything's on one tape.
Or
Save
can
some
we-
money and save some
Can we
time.
start earlier?
Well,
6:30? I mean, will that
well, the
work?
public forum, I don't know, we can,
I mean, sometimes public forum too is 15 minutes ain't enough.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's another,
Or can we
Well-
just slide into the
Well,
meeting?
If we put it in the body of the agenda the way it used to be, it'll be right after presentations. So that way, if somebody's here to make a presentation, they don't have to sit for the public forum. Then we have that before we have the consent agenda, and there was no time limit on it.
Okay.
Now, I do think if we have it though, we need to make sure that we enforce the rules, limit the time of each speaker, but put it in the body at that point, then we can do it
Right.
and.
But my
Could I
opinion-
recommend that we take it up in the work meeting after all, rather than try to hodgepodge it real quick?
Is there gonna be a work meeting before our next council meeting?
No, it would be the first Monday in February.
Okay, I see your point.
I mean, for the next council meeting, it'd be nice to have the public forum
Yeah.
open, so we
Yeah.
have it. So,
I see your point.
cause I mean, to me, it's like, we can't silence the people, and that's how I look at it. Everybody's free to speak, and that's how it always should be. That's my opinion.
Jack, are you gonna figure out when you wanna put that in the agenda then?
Yeah, I would recommend that we put it like it used to be, put it at, it'd be item 5.0.
Right after the
Right after presentations.
Okay.
And, that's the way it was. Before that, it used to be at the end of the meetings. We don't wanna put it there.
No. 'cause
So if we, it seemed to work fairly well when we put it, it's almost at the first of the meeting, so if there are no presentations, we'd go straight from the adoption of the agenda into the public forum.
Did you have a time
No,
limit on it? or-
No,
we do
there's
had a
no time
time
limit,
limit
no
on the
time limit.
speakers, but not on the public forum itself. So if there were 15 people here, they took all the comments of the 15 people.
You need a motion or what?
We did a motion.
Motion made and second.
Second.
Well,
To the motion, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. And for my city council report, Brian touched on the 28th. I had both watersheds last week, Upper Rum and Sunrise. We're still a stalemate on the Sunrise with Ham Lake. We don't know what's gonna happen, so we're gonna, I don't know if we will be voting in February on a new budget for 2024, but the upper room in February, Mr. Miller, you're probably voting on a budget for the upper room. And that's the end of my report. And we need one more motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Motion made, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned.
Congratulations, Mr. Harrington.